Welcome to the Voices of Dreamers podcast. My name is Lupe, and I will be your host as we explore the stories, the struggles, and the resilience of the dreamer community. This podcast is dedicated to sharing the voices of dreamers, those who are redefining what it means to call this country home while navigating the unique challenges of the immigration system. Whether you're a dreamer yourself, an ally, or someone who wants to learn more, this is a space for understanding, empowerment, and most of all, hope. Thank you for joining me. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Voices of Dreamers podcast. Today I'm excited to introduce Carlos, who has graciously agreed to share his story with us.
My name is Carlos. So I grew up in Santa Ana since I was one. I was brought over here when I was one, but I originated or was born in Cuernavaca, Morelos, Mexico. And so back when I was one, my mom brought me here, but I actually was taken back to Mexico for my first year in kindergarten. So my mom sent me back to Mexico for a year in Mexico, and so that's why I do have like I feel like a real connection because I stayed for a whole year over there. I lived a life. I still remember it. I was like five, but I still remember it. So that I feel like that kind of brought me closer to Mexico.
Oh,
Not be like those people who like, oh, Mexico's dirty or whatever. Like I know the living. I know how it is over there. And then I was brought back when I was six, and then I, have been here since then. Been here for 36 years now, and just recently, I want to say 2 week, no, what was it? 2 or 3 weeks ago, I just got my green card. Um,
shut up!
Yeah, so I feel like I just barely got in there. Like like the train's going, I'm like in the back, and I'm
Yeah,
saying goodbye because like with everything that's going on right now, I'm like I wish I could help you, but I'm like, I barely got in there because I hear so many stories now
yeah,
that they're trying to just delay stuff or that he's firing judges and stuff like that. It's just I feel like and
yes.
my mom is still not, documented, so I still feel for her. I remember when I told her,
Sure.
I took her out to dinner, I surprised her, and she was just crying. It's like, but I could see like that relief
Oh,
in her face, like, cause
yeah.
she worked. I'm like so my sister, she moved back to Mexico when she was 21 and she's made her life
Oh,
over there. I was thinking of doing that, but I stayed here. And then I have two little brothers. They're American. They were born here. So I'm the only one that's undocumented. So I can see that relief, leave her finally. And
yes.
she still has that fear for herself, but it's more, how parents are. They're
Oh
like,
my
oh,
God.
whatever happens to me, happens to me. I just worry about you.
Yes.
Yeah. So um, I just want to give back. I guess that's why I kind of came on here. I want to be able to like spread the word, my message, my story, and kind of maybe create something to give back to the people. Not just be like, I got my green card, goodbye. I don't want to be like that.
Oh my God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations. That is so amazing.
thank you.
Wow. Oh my God. How did it feel when you got the letter in the mail?
So it was kind of weird because I started back in June, and then in October they sent me the card to go get like my medical stuff done. And so I sent it, and then January came, and I was like, okay, well, it's kind of delaying because it said it was only going to be a couple months or whatever. And so then I heard that they're trying to wait to see what happens when Trump gets in or whatever. So I'm like, oh, they're probably going to ask because I was told they still needed my documents for bank statements, my proof of marriage, like pictures and all that. So I was thinking, okay, they're gonna delay even more. I'm gonna be. I was scared because I was thinking, what if I have to wait a couple more months and then I get deported in between that time, or something like that.
Oh,
And
got it.
then that letter came, and I was like, what is? Am I? Is that it? It's like I got it. Like like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was surprised. I was shocked. But it did
Ah,
make me feel like it lifted a lot off of my back. But it still
for
made me feel for my
sure.
mom, for those that don't have it, and how because I had that fear in me and it just left me, but I could still feel that fear for them. You know?
For sure, especially with, like, everything going on right now, and like you said, like, I just read that yesterday that he's, like, firing judges.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
so
it's gonna
it's like
delay a
if
lot of those cases.
cases, legal cases, they're not even like conduct they're people are trying to come here legally, doing things the right way, so I don't
Yeah,
understand if they're trying to have people be here legally, but they're trying to get rid of the way for people to become here legally.
yes.
I don't understand all that.
Right? And I feel like even for, like, a lot of the people that, he's sending to, like, Guantanamo Bay and, like, he doesn't wanna put them in front of judges so they can hear their cases. So, I feel like that's also gonna, stop that from happening, and he's just gonna skip that process and then just,
Yeah, and
deport
there's
them. Because I mean,
supposed to
that's
be
what
checks
he's
and
been doing,
balances.
right?
Mhm. Yep,
Yeah,
there's
I feel
supposed
like
to be all this checks and balances, but no one's checking them. They're just, "Okay, what can we do?" It's like, "What do you mean?" There's checks and balances for a reason, but they seem to
right?
be not there seem to be none for him, and I don't know, we even if I am legal here, whatever, I still worry about the future. I do have a son, and so I do worry about, his future as well here. So
Ah,
yeah, it's just troublesome.
it really is. Oh, I have a question for you. Okay, you said that you went to Mexico and, you were 5 when you went back and you did kindergarten over there, so you still remember a lot of it
Mhm.
from
Yep.
that 1 year. When you came back, did you struggle, like, a little bit?
Yeah, so when I came back, I started first grade here because I went to kindergarten, and it's funny because over there, kindergarten, I believe it's 2 years,
Oh,
instead of one.
okay.
Oh, I don't know what that is. 2 years
Ah!
instead of one, and
Celebrating that
so
you got your green card.
yeah. And so I did 1 year over there, and I remember I was a troublemaker. I had my whole, the person I was before, it was just like that outgoing troublemaker kid, but like fun, just everything was
Yeah,
fun and funny to me. And
yeah,
then I came back here in first grade, and they put me in the Spanish speakers class. And within that first year, I remember there was this girl that came in, and she already knew how to read. I didn't know any English. She already knew how to
yes.
read, how to, talk in English and all that. And I guess the type of person I am in my head, I was like, wait, she already knows how to do this. I need to like beat her. I need to like be better than her. So I taught myself English. I taught myself how to read. And within that
Wow.
first year, that same grade, I was transferred to the English speakers class. So like that, I know I have it in me to be,
Yeah,
perform as much as I can.
for
But I remember
sure.
since then, I even thought that like, oh wow, I've moved up to like English speaker just because I tried hard. But
Yeah,
little by little, I do know I say the person I was because I used to be outgoing, like I've become this shy, kind of nervous person around other people, and I feel like that's kind of a trauma response to like how I had to hide everything who I was. I was always scared of what other people would think. I'm undocumented or whatever. My first
yeah,
girlfriend, I had to like I didn't she didn't even know when she first became my girlfriend that I was
yeah.
undocumented. And I remember when I was thinking I have to tell her, like I was just shaking that she would leave me or whatever. Like I have that that
Oh,
trauma, and I feel like many people might
yeah,
have that and might impede the type of person you are because when I'm with family or in Mexico or people from Mexico when they come over, I feel like I'm just this outgoing, funny guy. But in public, I'm not. I'm the shy person, barely talk to you. So I feel
yeah,
like that's kind of like a double. What's it called? Like a double life or a double side to me that I just feel was
yeah.
developed because of that.
Wow. That is totally relatable, yeah. I can see that because yeah, you kinda, like, wanna have, like, this wall up to protect
Mhm.
yourself, yeah.
And I remember,
Oh,
that part of that was also I remember when you start, kids when they start notice things like that, and they would ask me, I would tell them I was undocumented, like friends. I would tell them I was undocumented, and they were friends, but they would still make fun of me, like, oh, like the way I spoke, I would say, chips for, chips, eating chips, and they would make
oh,
fun of me, like how I would speak and things like that. How I was undocumented, like they would say, oh, the immigration's here or something hide or something like that. And they were supposed
oh
to be
my
friends,
god.
so I just always that kind of like I did have a group of friends, but I was always kind of the outsider. They would go to games, and I had to take care of my brothers, so I was always kind of
Oh,
like on the outside because my mom had to work, I had little brothers, and so I always felt like that distance. So that's why growing up, and I don't know if a lot of people relate to that, but I don't really have any friends. I just have my family and my little kid, my son, my wife, and my mom. But I don't
yeah,
really have like any outside friends, just because every time I had a friend, they would either leave, somewhere else, or there would be that type of friend that would make fun of me and things like that. So I just
Yeah,
kind of had, again, that trauma. I feel it's just something that I grew up with and it's stuck with me.
for sure. I can totally see that. Because yeah, you know what? That's true. Like, a lot of us who grew up like in very like Hispanic households, like we were kind of like the other parent too. We were kind of forced to step into that role because our parents were at work and we had to, take care of our little siblings.
Yeah, I remember my mom would get mad at me because she had to go to work, and I was rebellious a little bit as a teenager, but not. My sister was more rebellious, but I remember I
Yeah.
would try to go after school to my friends. They would just want to hang out, they'll talk or something. I did that once. I got home, she was so mad at me, like, "Why did I had to go to work?" and blah blah blah. So I never did that again. But it was
Right.
something like I was in the back of my mind, I always had like I have to take care of my brothers because she can't do it, and I know it's not fair, but that's she had to make that sacrifice, so I have to make
For
that sacrifice so I
sure.
can help my little brothers as well.
Yeah. That is very true, yeah, because like, we wanna do stuff when we're, like, in high school, we wanna go out with our friends or do go to, like, games or do extracurricular stuff, and sometimes you can't because you do have already such big responsibilities.
Yeah, my sister didn't care. She still joined the dance team. She still did a lot of things. But me, I was
Look
taught
at
by my
her.
mom financially. Yeah, financially, she was always struggling, and she already had the burden of my sister's stuff. So I wanted to join basketball growing up. I wanted to join soccer, but I never did. I never tried out because I knew that would burden my mom. And I needed to be there for my brother. So I always felt like I was that responsible kid, and
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. Seeing, I'm proud that I did that, but also I feel like I wish I would have done more. You know, like
Right,
for
yeah.
myself.
That is so true, that right there, yeah. Because I feel like that happened to me too. Yeah. You were kind of forced to put yourself, second, and you had to step into, like, an adult role.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
kinda put, like, the things that you wanted to do and be like, "Oh, I can't really because, I have to help my parents out," or, "We're kinda limited with money, so I don't wanna put an extra burden on them."
Hmm. Yep. I feel
Yeah,
like
that's very
that's not just a undocumented thing. I think that's a Hispanic family thing.
so
But it does
true.
feel like it's more burdensome on undocumented just because the parents can't have a better work, better job,
Oh, yeah.
to help provide a lot of times. And so you feel like you need to help since you don't have papers, they don't have papers. You feel like you guys need to stick as close as possible to each other, to kind of,
Yeah,
help each other.
very true, yeah. Um, when did you first find out about DACA?
So
How
actually,
old were you?
that's a funny story because so I had a girlfriend. We broke up, um, and we kind of like stopped talking. But I remember she just texted me out of nowhere. I was like, Okay, why is she texting me?" She's like, "Oh, do you hear they're legalizing people or something?" I was like, "I've never even heard." Like I used to follow the news, but I never even heard of that. And it was the day that I guess DACA was passed or signed by Obama.
Oh,
It's
okay.
funny, I never heard of that. I was like, "What is that?" And something, and then I was working, and it was at a skyrise, and I remember people saying, "Oh, in the bottom floor, there are people like cheering, protesting, or something because of that signature, that DACA going through." And I'm all like, "What is that?" Like I've never even heard of that. So I looked into it. I'm like, "Oh wow!" Like that's like actually pretty good.
Yeah,
And so that's when I first heard of it. I'd never even heard of that before that, which is weird because, like I said, I would be on marches. I would go. I don't even know how I didn't hear about that.
yeah.
So I heard that, and then I don't work with them, but I've become friends with this organization, Hermandad Mexicana,
Oh, okay.
and so even before that, I used to march with them. They used to do like my papers for other things, and so I went to them, and they've helped me since then. Even they're the ones that helped me get the green card as well. And so
Oh,
I've
wow,
kind of
okay.
yeah, I've kind of had first I was trying to read everything for myself, but I kind of let have them check it and do it through them so that I know it's 100% correct.
Right,
And so
yeah.
that's how I got DACA. Is I just learned about that, try to do it myself, and then handed it to them so they can do it perfect. And I was one of the first people that got the DACA back in 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
how old was I? I was 25.
Oh, okay. Did you, Did you face, like, any struggles before that? Like, you said how, like, our parents, were, had to settle for, like, certain kinda jobs because, they're undocumented. So,
Yeah.
did you face any of those same struggles?
Oh, it could be a whole day of struggles that I faced, and I think it's all struggles that everyone's faced. But a few of them, I got accepted to college, but I couldn't pay for it. I didn't
Yeah.
qualify for any assistance back then, and I remember I took my mom just to kind of like speak with the what is it called, the people that help you get into admissions for the
Or,
colleges
like,
and stuff.
financial
The
aid?
Yeah, and then I remember they used to tell me, or they told me, like, "Oh yeah, you have good grades, you have," because I was trying to go in for art, and like you have great paintings, like you have the like you're good at at art,
Yeah.
and then they told me, "Oh, it's gonna be like this much money." I forget what it was exactly, but it was like a lot. It was like 70,000 or 80,000 or something,
Oh, for
and they
sure,
were like, "And
yeah.
since you don't have documents, we can't. There's nothing for us to help you with." And so I remember I was like, "So." Okay, there's not like I can't apply, I can't attend. They're like, yeah, it's gonna be too hard for you. And I remember seeing my mom's face. She was like, not, so she was sad but defeated. Like her face was like, now I could see that in her mind, it's he's gonna have to go through all this. And like
Oh,
that's when I felt
right,
like
yeah, like it
lot of
hit
the weight
her?
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I still attended college, but it was community college,
Yeah.
and through there I had to do a lot of things. I had to work two jobs while we're going to school full time. So and I didn't have a car. So I would walk to school, which was like a 45-minute to an hour walk. And then I would walk back. Sometimes I would take the bus, but the bus schedule was kind of like not constant. I don't know if you know,
Yeah.
obviously in California, it's just not constant. And so
Yeah.
sometimes I would be late. There was one time where I came back from school. It was like late at night, like 10, I want to say. And I got robbed. I got this guy, it was like two kids. And they came
Yeah.
up to me, and I was, at first, I was like, they stopped me. They jumped the fence. They stopped me, and I'm like, "Do I know you?" Like I thought they were like, "Hey, I know you," or something like that. But then they
Yeah.
grabbed my backpack and they started hitting me, and I was gonna fight back because they were like skinny little kids,
Yeah.
like 18, 19. But then I thought, what if they have guns? What if they have knives? So I just started, okay, I'm just gonna cover myself up, and
Yeah.
they just like took everything and they ran away. When they ran away, I got my phone out and I said, I'm gonna call the cops, and they ran into a truck that was waiting for them. So I think they were
Stop.
scoping me out or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so they got into a truck, ran off. I called the cops. The cops arrived, but the person on the call, because I was right on the border of Costa Mesa and Santa Ana, and they're like,
Okay.
"Where are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm on this street." Like, which side? On Santa Ana or Costa Mesa? I'm like, I don't know. I'm on the right side or something. Like, I didn't know. I was like,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Okay, well, we can't help you unless you tell us where." I'm like over here, and so I had to like walk to the
Yeah.
nearest cross section
Yeah.
and told them, "Okay, I'm right here in this section, whatever." And like, "Okay, we're gonna send them out for you." So they sent the cops out, and then as soon as they came out, whatever, like, "Oh, hey," I was like gonna greet them, and they're like, "Stop right there!" Like they kind of treated me like I was the bad guy, and like, "All right, sit down," and like before you even touch you and whatever. And then they like asked me what was going on, what happened, and I told them. And then I remember this cop girl. She was like a younger, maybe like a rookie woman.
Uh-huh.
They made her do everything. It was all like older white male cops and her. And I remember they were all huddling together, and they said, "Okay, you go help them." And she like made me go back to the crime scene, go back, explain everything to her. She's the one that asked me if I had a cut. She was Hispanic too, if I
Oh,
had a cut or whatever, if I needed, like something for my cuts. And I said, "No, I'm fine." And they were just like laughing, doing their own thing. And then she's
yeah.
like, "Okay, well, we'll try to, whatever, like do a report or whatever." And then
Yeah.
they left, but they pretty much made her do everything. So that was kind of a awakening of a mistrust for cops as well.
Oh.
Which, I mean, if you know in the undocumented community, that's very big.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that's happened that I've had to go through. Um, what else? I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah. Oh my god. But you know what? I feel like, that's been like a constant, we face so many obstacles, like, when we find out that we're not the same as our friends, we can't go get our driver's license at the same time they can. We can't sign up for college, or we can do college, but you have to pay everything out of pocket. I feel
You
like
can't even
now
go to bars.
we have a little more help now for, like, dreamers, but, like, back when you signed up, and also if you wanna go straight to a four-year university, it's all you get charged with out-of-state tuition, which is, like, twice as
Yeah. Actually,
expensive.
I got lucky that the counselor helped me out with that. I got to charge in-state
Oh my
tuition,
god,
so
that's
that they did help me
amazing.
on that. Yeah, so I did,
Nice.
but I still had to pay everything out of pocket. That's why I had 2 jobs, but, I did my homework during my
Yeah.
lunchtime, so yeah.
Yeah, like, we face, like, so many obstacles, and like, I've been seeing so many videos of everybody posting their walls of accomplishments with all their degrees and stuff, and it's like they faced it may have taken them a little longer and faced some obstacles, but it's made them so strong and so resilient to be like, even though you guys are putting so many barriers for me, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna quit. Oh, I'm gonna give up." Like, no, like, I will figure it out.
Mhm. Yep. Or even, what baffles me, people nowadays, when, even a Hispanic community, when they just feel like, we don't need college. Rich people didn't go to college. Then they have these billion-dollar jobs. It's like, yeah, because they had all the backing from their family. They had all the assistance from the government. They had so
Yes.
many. No, there's no barriers for them, or not as many barriers for them as there was for
So
us.
true.
For us, it's vital that we go to college. It's going to help us tremendously. Just because you see people who do it without it, great.
Yeah,
For you, you're probably gonna have to go to college if you wanna succeed.
yeah. And you know what? That is very true. Like education is so important. And regardless, like even if it takes you like longer, even if you do just a couple classes, like I've been seeing like everybody and it's just like been such a motivation.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Yep.
way we don't
Same here.
settle, to keep on like doing like the same thing as our parents, just settling for
Mhm.
those jobs and
Yeah,
we can
and
go
I've
ahead
done
and
my parents' job, but my mom
yeah.
used to take me when I was little to clean houses. That's made me, really, um cherish what she did for me, and it's also made me
Yeah,
respect what she does as a, living,
for
cleaning
sure.
houses, dealing with all that, the bag. She used to have 2 jobs as well while having 2 kids by herself, in a country without papers. To
Yeah.
me, she's honestly, I know that it's always corny to say that, but she really is like a superhero. The fact that I
Mhm,
don't think
for
I would be able
sure.
to be that strong, but she, like I said, 2 jobs, hardly any sleep. She would come home for us before school, cook something for us, leave a note of what there was to eat, what we had to do,
Oh,
go back to work,
yeah,
come back at midnight, and then when she had to sign things for school, I remember
yeah,
we used to tape things up on the hallway of the entrance and tape it down with the
yeah.
paper, like, okay, you need to sign this, and so she would sign it in the middle of the night, but she would still wake us up, make us breakfast, and take
Oh,
us to school. One time
wow.
she got stopped by a cop one time, taking us to school, and I remember like I was so afraid. I was like, oh, they're gonna deport her, and she told, okay,
Oh,
you guys leave because you're gonna be late. So she let us leave the car and walk to school, and I was just like
oh.
thinking, oh man, like my life's about to change, and luckily she
Yeah,
just got, I think, a warning or a ticket, and then she was like, I don't know. It's just that fear was always in us every time we were around police or
right,
something. It's just there's a constant fear. Like I said, it's a trauma too, but it's a constant fear that you're living with. Just seeing a
for
policeman, which
sure.
is supposed to symbolize, someone help and assistance, but for us, it symbolized fear.
Yes, it has, yeah, it does, yeah. So you said you've always been aware of your status.
Yep.
You've always known,
Always
of
known. Well, I
like
mean,
the
as far as I can remember, but from 4 or 5, I've always known. Like I said, I lived in Mexico. That's probably the earliest I can remember being a little kid. I do remember a little bit before that when I was here, before I went back to Mexico for kindergarten.
uh-huh,
But I do remember, yeah, it was, my mom's in the U.S. I'm over here because she's working, and then when I came back over here, hey, you're not like everyone. You're, make sure your name is Carlos Rangel, not the whole name or something.
yeah,
And
oh, okay.
you don't speak English like they do. So I've always known I'm, undocumented. They never hid it from me. They made me aware because so when I came back, we had to cross with a friend, and I had to say, okay, say this as little kids. My mom's friend
Oh,
crossed
okay,
us as little kids, and like, oh yeah, say you're U.S. citizens, okay, and we crossed, and then that's how you know that's okay. I'm not
right?
that, but you're supposed to say I am.
Yeah. And you know what? That goes to show like how because you could have just been like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a citizen," like, that coulda stuck in your head, but you knew already that this is what I have to say to
Yeah,
get
I'm
me
different.
to. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one
Wow.
thing when I see my son, I've tried to be truthful with him, but also not have all that trauma on put onto him. Yes, I'm
Yes.
undocumented, and your dad's documented or was undocumented, but you're gonna be, a regular kid, and he has autism, so I try to be there as much for him as possible. My dad wasn't there for me either, which I don't understand. You're undocumented. My mom moved here for you, for your dad. Then he leaves the family, never talks to us, and like now that I have my sons, like I don't understand how people can do that. Like how they can just
Right?
separate their from their kids. Like if I was to be deported in Mexico, or whatever, I would still want to be there every day, calling my son or being there for my son.
Yeah,
Like that just
yeah.
doesn't compute to me. Like how could you in your mind? It's like, okay, so I have sons here, but I'm never gonna call them or anything.
Very, very true right there, yeah. Yeah, I have a friend who literally drives 5, 6 hours to go see his kids,
Mm, yep, I
and
would do
yeah,
that.
yeah, and it's like there's some people that can't even do, like, something so little of just a phone call, and like you said, even though, like, if something woulda happened to you and you woulda gotten deported, you still would have been there.
Yeah, because when I did advanced parole, that's what helped me get my green card. I
Oh my
remember I
god,
was so
tell me
nervous. I
about
couldn't.
that.
So I was ignited with. So when I had DACA, right? I had DACA 2012. I met my
Yeah.
wife like real soon right after that, but we were
Oh,
just
okay.
together. We didn't. I didn't want her to think that I was with her just for her papers, so I never even brought it up before.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so I would just. I'm fine. I'm fine with DACA. I'm okay. I'm fine with DACA. I don't really need to
Yeah.
put that pressure on her or whatever. Then Trump came in, and I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of afraid. Let's look into it. Like, and she was okay with it. Like, because they might take it away. She was understanding. So
Oh,
let's look
yeah.
into it. But when we looked into it, we didn't really because she worked. She had a good job. She had people, that could, she didn't need. I guess you need like a hardship in order for me to be able to stay over here and not have to leave the country
Oh.
for the interview process. You need like a hardship for
Oh,
me to stay
got
here for
it.
her. Hardship for her,
Yeah.
not for me, but she was doing fine financially. She had family members surrounding whatever. She had like a home, all that.
Oh,
So she
okay.
didn't need me really. So I didn't qualify really for that waiver to go to outside the country for that interview and then come back. Because if you leave the
Yeah.
country and you don't have that waiver, you're automatically banned for 10 years.
Yes.
So yeah, so we didn't qualify for that. We did even like I said, we know we didn't because we even went to the lawyer and everything, and she was like, "Okay, give us this. You could do even for like stress or something like a waiver for that."
Yeah.
But she didn't have any of that stuff, so we didn't qualify. So then my son was born in 2019, and I was like, we need to try again. So we tried again, no luck still, and then finally, like when um last year when we saw that Trump was running again, we're like, we need to try again because he's gonna something's gonna be done this time that around that he's gonna get rid of DACA or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Did you get some fear
finally,
when so sorry, when you saw that he stopped it the first time? Like, there's no more new
yeah.
applications.
Yep. I was afraid that oh man, it's like it's over for me. But I didn't have my kid back then, so it was just more fear for me. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I mean, if I have to, I'll be sent back, and I'll have to make my life over there. Now, if I get sent back, it's like, how am I gonna take care of my son? How am I gonna see
Yeah.
him? Like, there's new
Oh,
fears now.
yes.
Um. So yeah, so that we tried to apply again for this year, and we knew about advanced parole. I think he stopped it for a while. Advanced parole, he stopped it for a while, so we couldn't apply for that
Yes.
before.
True.
And so then Biden came in and made it possible again. So finally, we had a actual emergency with my dad, um, and so I was able to get advanced parole through that. And the Hermandad Mexicana, they actually helped me a lot because they processed the whole thing. But I remember them saying that you can do two things to try to get that approved. You can go to the actual the U.S. not a consulate, but like the U.S. immigration place and see like get it in person, so you can get it approved right then and there.
Oh,
But
okay.
that person was a dick. That person who who looked at my thing, He's like, my dad is sick, he's dying, he wants to see me as the last thing,
Yeah.
whatever. He's like, how is this an emergency? I'm like, because he's dying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't say here that he's an emergency or whatever. I'm like,
Oh,
but he's saying
wow.
on his letter, nope, it's not an emergency. He needs to be like declare that he's gonna die within the next few days or something. I'm like, so he just like
Wow.
that. It was like less than 5 minutes. He didn't read the letter. Like less than a minute, he looked at the whole thing. Okay,
Yeah.
bye. I'm like, okay, so that didn't go through.
Wow.
So then I had
Yeah.
to process it through the mail, and that took a couple months, 6 months or so, maybe less, and I got approved. So then I had to get my ticket, and I wanted to do it as soon as possible, just because I wanted to start that process soon, and of course, go see my dad, because, and I say it like that because dad never there or whatever, but it got processed, so I had to get tickets, and the tickets was like $1,500 for round trip. So I was like, all right,
Wow.
I'll do it. I mean,
Yeah.
otherwise, if you had to wait months ahead, I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm doing well financially, so I'm like, oh, this will just be something a hit for the future.
Yes.
So then I went to Mexico only a weekend because I still had work. I didn't ask. I had just been let go the year before for my previous
Oh.
job, and so it was a new job, and so I just started. I didn't have the whole vacation, so I did a weekend with two
Oh.
days, Friday and Monday. And
Yeah.
then, so I went over there for the weekend again. I did not enjoy a single day. I was nervous the whole time that I wouldn't be able to come back. So nervous. And
Yeah.
so when I went over there and you reach the airport in Mexico,
Yeah.
there's like this place which is like residents or citizens and not Mexican citizens, not Mexican citizens. I was like, I don't know which way. Like
Oh
I'm
my
undocumented,
God.
but I have the
Yeah.
pro. I'm like,
You're like,
so
¿a
I
dónde
went to
voy?
the I went to the U.S. citizens because I had
Yeah.
my American license, and I had that thing. So I was like, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be here. So I asked one of the people there, the
Yeah.
guards, the security guards, and they're like, "What are you doing in this line?" I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't sure, whatever." It's like, "Okay, come over here," and he passed me to the front of the line to the U.S. The Mexican citizen side, and they're like, "Okay, well, welcome Mexico," blah blah blah, like so nice to me, and I went through,
Yeah.
and so I stayed over there. Like I said, I could not enjoy it. I came back so nervous that I wouldn't make it back through. I was like
Yeah.
texting my mom because she was gonna pick me up at the airport. And so I was texting her, okay, I've landed. I'm going back into immigration, all that stuff. So I went into the customs, and I told her, okay, so I have this letter, whatever. I'm not a citizen. Okay, come here. This ICE agent or whatever agent comes. He got
Yeah.
me. We went to the back room. The infamous back room,
Yeah.
and there were so many people there. I thought it was just gonna be like one person, one room, but it's
Yeah.
like a waiting room, and then there's like little booths right there, and I guess the agent calls you and you go over there, but everyone can hear your story or whatever. So I was so
Oh,
nervous. I
okay.
was like, okay, like I don't know, I was just nervous, like in public,
Yeah.
telling my whole story. And
Oh
I
my
remember some of
God.
the people there, they were like, it's not just Hispanics, it was like all immigrant types, whatever. But some people
Yeah.
were straight out rude to the people. They had to call police in for one of them because he was yelling in that room. I don't know what, but they had come police to take him out and
Yeah.
stuff. And some people were just like, so like, why are you wasting, like, to the ICE agents or whatever? Why are you wasting my time? Blah blah blah. No, I was so like, yes sir, yes. I was like the opposite. I was
Right.
like, I'm not
They're
gonna get them
probably like,
mad.
you're good, buddy. You are okay.
Yeah, so I got called up. The guy's like, "Well, what are you here for?" or whatever, and I told him. He's like, "Okay, good. Take a picture of that. We keep this." And then they stamped it, and I was like, "Oh, like less than a minute." You know, I was good, and I came out. My
Wow.
mom saw me. We hugged. So it was
Yeah.
scary, but it
For
wasn't.
sure.
Yeah, if you have that document, you're good. Yeah, if you have the document, you're good. The advanced parole thing when you come back, and I was so scared that because I read that they could whatever reason, they could just deny it. But if you have that document, you're good. So I didn't really need to be afraid for anything. And so after that, I did the process for the adjustment, and then was it like 7 months later, I got my green card.
Wow. I feel like I would feel like that too. I wouldn't be able to enjoy it either. Like when you were on the plane and stuff, were you like anxious about like being back, or you were just like, you know what, I was just too nervous that because he did say that you couldn't even really enjoy your experience there.
So now that I had that green card, like I said, it left me, but I still feel for those others that don't. And so that's why, one of the reasons why I'm on this platform is to try to spread awareness, and I want to start doing something for our community. I want to
Yeah.
start selling shirts with like I have this. Yeah, I'll show you. I have this thing that I
Oh
created. I
my
don't
god,
know if
yeah, 'cause
anyone else.
your artwork.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
one
let me
thing that I created.
see.
I don't know. So,
Oh, yeah.
so this is
Raised in
the
Cali. Oh,
California
yeah, I like it.
bear, but the Mexican Hecho Mexico eagle.
Yeah.
So I did that. I wanted to put that on a shirt or something like that.
Oh
And
my
then I
god,
also was
do
thinking
it.
of doing how there's like Big Brothers,
Yes.
the for like what's it called? The Boys and Girls Club or something.
Yes.
So I wanted to do something like that for undocumented kids because I see myself in them. So I wanted to like maybe pay for all their school supplies, sponsor them kind of like
Yeah.
and do things like that. And I wanted to start just on my own, but eventually, hopefully, if people wanted to do that, come join me and be sponsor of one of these kids because I see
Yeah.
this lady I see that sells roses or flowers on the street over here in Whittier or Whittier La Habra, and she
Yeah.
always has a little baby on her back, a little baby on her back,
Oh,
always sun, raining, and so
yeah.
that made me think like I want to help them. I want to
Yeah.
even just sponsor the kids for school should be a big help. Take them to
For
play like if they have any sometimes they can't afford books on that
yeah.
scholastic whatever book fairs. Pay for that. Something
Oh
just
my
help
god,
them
that would
out.
be so good, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of doing. Like I said, I'm doing okay financially, so I want to be able to like spread that back. And
Oh
so
my
that's one thing I
god,
want to do,
do
like
it,
that shirt.
yeah.
Yeah, help that do that. And I want to start like YouTube series of like my story as well, kind of like just telling my whole story. And
Yeah.
then just in case, have like a future for my something for my son to look at too, so that he doesn't
Yeah.
forget where he comes from. Because I do, a lot of people do forget where they come from. That
Very
they
true.
see they have all the benefits of being here legally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's I want to have all these plans now that I have documents. I want to be able to like spread that back to the community because I feel there's so
Yeah.
much fear now that families could be separated, and maybe some are separated. They're here without their parents now, so I feel
So
like
oh my
especially
god, yeah.
nowadays, it would be helpful.
Yeah. That would be so cool, yeah. Have you come up with a name for it?
So I mean, my name is just Artistic Rhapsody. That's
Yeah.
my name on everything right now. Well, Artistic Rhapsody 87.
Yeah.
But for that specific program, I have not. Like I said, first I need to see, start with everything. I think I'm just going to start with the YouTube things first and the
Okay.
T-shirts
Yeah.
first. If anyone wants to reach out and help me out with that, like, hey, I want to sponsor a kid, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do work with the Hermandad Mexicana, so that I can reach out to them, and say, hey, if anyone's interested from that community for assistance for the kids, like school
So
stuff,
true, yeah.
yeah, I can help them out, like give them my information and tell them, if they need assistance for, just for school clothes, for books, for something
Yeah.
like that. That we're willing, these people, me and other people are willing to help pay for that, or even doesn't have to be school and thing. It could just even be, take the family out for a dinner for Disneyland or something like fun, so that they live in constant stress. I feel like sometimes they just
Yeah.
need to relax, be a family, have a good time because the times I remember with my mom that are with my mom when I was a little kid are when I'm having fun with her, not when I'm, I mean, obviously when you're fear, but just
So
like staying
true.
at home watching America's Funniest Videos. I remember for like a
Yeah.
week we did
Yeah.
that. Wrestling with her when I was like 5 or 6, like on the
True.
floor. Just family time, fun times. That's what we
Yeah.
remember. And so I feel like if you give that to those families, at least they'll have those memories.
Yeah. That is, you brought up a good point, how you said that, when did you watch the election results when they were showing that a lot of the Hispanic community voted for Trump?
Yeah, it made me embarrassed for our community and made me sad for our community. Like the fact that we've become so selfish, thinking of just like not others. And even nowadays, when you go on social media, you see you see posts like the ones that I posted or posts about immigrants or whatever, and people are saying, well, they should go back, they're illegal or whatever, and things like. And it's just ho- compassion has left this country. I feel like compassion is
Yeah,
gone,
so
and
true.
so I feel we need to bring that back, compassion, because I think
Yeah,
that's by design too, because without compassion there's not going to be any change from the other side. That's how in the 60s, a lot of African communities were able to get their free of their rights was because people were compassionate towards them, and just by seeing them on TV
Okay.
how they were treated, they became more compassionate. But nowadays, there's no compassion. Even if you show it on TV how they're being wrangled up, put into Guantanamo, that it's there's just no compassion nowadays, and I feel like that's
Yes.
by design because once compassion comes back, then they're gonna have a they have to have a turn 360 of how they're handling our community.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like, how they're saying like, "Oh, we're only gonna do this to criminals."
Yeah, where are the immigration and prisons?
Yeah.
Where are the
Yeah.
immigrations like in all like all the where you would find criminals mostly?
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I was like,
well,
"This isn't making any sense." Yeah.
like
Um,
schools has criminals,
right,
hospitals have criminals,
yeah. Yeah, and he took off that protection where, like, they couldn't
churches,
go to churches, hospitals, schools.
schools. Hmm.
I don't understand how he's getting away with doing all of this.
Like I said, compassion is gone. People are just I mean, I can't explain that, honestly, it's just it's not
Yeah, it's
the
just so,
America
like,
I grew up in.
mind-boggling to think, like, but then you saw that map turn red, like, every state was just, turning red, and you're just like, "Have you
Yeah,
guys really felt this way this whole time?"
yeah.
I guess
I
that's how
saw
the majority.
this one TikTok, that we're saying because I mean, that's where you met TikTok, but that's, where they were showing that a clip of the scene from, what was that movie? The American History X? And how he
Oh,
was explaining how, this their side and our side or whatever,
yeah.
and it's word by word what they're preaching nowadays on the Trump side. Like it's not
Yes.
extremist, it's the exact same thing of what they're teaching nowadays. And to me, it's like it's so weird how they turned so right, so far to the right, that they see that and they're like, oh, that's so terrible, but they're doing the exact same thing. They have the exact same feelings, and it just I can't, like I said, it's not the America I grew up with. I don't recognize it really.
Right? Yeah. Did you see the interview where Trump was being interviewed and he was being asked about the Dreamer program? And he says that he wants to do something.
He said the same thing
And
before.
yeah,
He said it before in the past 2016. Said, "I'm not going to
right?
touch the Dreamers, the DACA, and we're going to do a bill, a single bill by itself to have help him out or whatever." And
Yeah,
then they came back, and he wanted to put it into the immigration bill that everyone else failed, because he wanted to bargain with us. Where he said at first that he wasn't going to bargain with us, and
yeah.
so I don't trust it. I don't.
Right, yeah. I was shocked to hear him say, like, everything he said, he was like, "Yeah, all the dreamers, they're in their 30s, their 40s, they have kids here, they don't know that country where they were, where they were born, they've grown up here, they've made lives here, they have children now." And it's like, "Sir, if you know this program so much, you know who we are, like, why are you doing what you're doing? It doesn't make any sense."
Yep. Yep. I never. Everything I hear from him is just in one ear out the other because he's going to change that whole tax plan. He said it was going to be no tax on tips, whatever, no tax on Social Security, and it turns out none of that was in the bill. So it's like I don't trust anything he says.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, some of the people were like, "Oh, yeah, vote, because he's not gonna tax your tips anymore," and that's what got people to vote for him, and it's like,
Yeah.
"You really that's what did it for you? You're saving a couple bucks?" It's
Yeah.
like you're throwing all
That's
these people under the bus for a couple dollars.
Yep. And they don't care. Like I said, it's become a compassionless country. It's become selfish country a lot. I feel in the last couple years, it's
Yeah.
become very xenophobic as well.
Oh
Just
my god.
with it's not just Hispanics, but I feel like we're the target number one. But he's coming after you after every single group. The trans is what they're saying, but it's gonna be gays, it's gonna be women. It's starting with us. We're the face of it because we broke the law.
It's isn't it such a shock to you? Like, I've just like, I don't watch the news. but I'm like on social media and I'm like on TikTok. That's where I get all my news. And you see all these like during the election, you s- a lot of people were going out and interviewing uh like the Trump supporters at the rallies and asking them, you know, like, do you know that there isn't an immigration, like there is no pathway for them,
Yeah,
like there,
none.
and somebody said this, like, how is it that they don't even know that their own immigration system? They think that, oh, like everybody tells you, oh, why don't you just go and apply? And it's like, it's not that easy. There
Mm-mm.
isn't anywhere where we can go and apply.
And it's not just applying, because if you go applying, whatever, yeah, but they make it harder on countries that are, of lower economic status, of different. I don't want to be that person, but like of different colors, because the
No,
Europeans
yeah,
don't have
for
it as
sure.
hard. When Ukraine, the whole thing happened, there were a lot of Ukrainians coming over here, and yes, there's war, but there's also war in Latin America. There's war, in Africa, but they don't make it as easy for them to come over as they did for the Ukrainians. And I don't think I'm not saying they should. I feel like they were in war, let them in, help them
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
but the same type of respect should be handed to us as well. When there's cartel violence, a lot of people fled cartel, and then people say, "Well, if it's so good, because there's a lot. Mexico has been changing lately, and
oh
it's
yeah,
getting better. And if
yeah,
it's so good, why don't you go back over there?" It's like, because you've been living here for decades now. We have families
yeah,
now over here. It's not as easy just going over there and starting. I would go back. Honestly, I would, but I don't have the education to get a good job over there. The education of Mexican education, to be able to, speak Spanish as well, know their systems, know everything. I don't. My sister was lucky enough to go when she was younger. She struggled, but she made it. She became an English teacher over there. Like I said, I've been there, during advanced pro. I didn't enjoy it, but I know it's made a lot of strides. My sister's been living there. She comes back and forth, from Mexico and over here. She has her
oh,
visa.
that's
She's a
cool.
teacher, like I said, over there, and it's made strides over there. I feel like, um, but I'm not equipped to thrive over there now that I'm older. I don't feel I have the education to get a good job over there. I don't have any diplomas or degrees that would transfer over there well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not really, an option to go over there unless I retire over there.
You know what? Same here. I've been like everybody's saying like, oh, like if we get deported, like we're gonna be okay. Like it's our home country. The president's doing so much to welcome us back. She's getting everything ready for us. But like you said, like we've grown up here. Like this is all we know. Like I feel so like disconnected from that part because I feel like I wouldn't survive.
Hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I've lived over there. I've gone back, and I know the living over there. I know like the water, how to, it runs out over there quick, so you have to like make sure you use it this way or whatever, the water. Do
Yes,
this,
yeah.
how to call taxi, all that stuff. Like I know the living over there, but getting a job is gonna be hard because over there, average job is not gonna give you the life you have over here. Average jobs over there is gonna give you a lesser life than. And then you could say, "Oh, well, we have enough money to start a business." I have a lot of money saved up. We don't have enough. Business over there have increased. Start a good business to live a good life.
Mm,
People just think it's so cheap over there, but it's not that cheap to be able to live a good life. It's cheap
yeah,
if you want to live a simple life.
yeah,
Have a little place here and there in the country or whatever. You can, but to have a good life, it's still hard, and I know a lot of people, they say, "Oh, we moved over here," and they make videos like, "We moved over here because my husband got deported," or whatever, but they have so much support from their TikTok things or their YouTube video or something. Like they
oh,
have
true.
that money coming in. It's not just, I got a job in Mexico, I'm working that job and thriving off of it.
So that, like that fear hits you and you're just like, if something does happen, like where am I gonna go?
Yep.
Because I
Exactly.
don't have
Especially if you
anybody
don't
over
have
there.
family. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
don't have family, especially that's even more frightening because you don't know. Like you might know where you come from, but it's like if you get deported over there, like you don't have anywhere to stay to build your life while you build your life. You don't have anywhere to stay, anyone to help you. So that's even more frightening. And then the
yeah.
fact, like you said, there's gonna be raids. We just saw some nearby. My wife was driving her mom the other day to go to the grocery store, and she came back. The taco stand guys, there was police there, and she said when she drove by, there was police there, whatever, like in a white van with people. But when she came back, the taco stand was empty, and all the police were gone. But there was no one in the taco stand. So I'm guessing they got the people and deported them, and that taco stand hasn't gone back up. So they're just round, and it was a Taco Tuesday, so they're just rounding people off the street when they said they weren't supposed to.
I would think that seeing how like it's been the past few weeks, I've been seeing some people having that regret of their vote.
I haven't seen that in person. I've seen those videos, but I haven't seen that in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking maybe, it's starting to hit some people, like, oh wow, like he's really going off the deep end, you know?
And it's the people who support them that live off of these programs.
You said it perfectly, the disconnect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
undocumented don't qualify for anything. We don't qualify for
Nothing.
anything. If anything we qualify for,
Yeah.
it's going to be from the state, not from the federal government. California, I think
Yes.
we get some assistance from California, but even then, you still have to jump through loopholes. And like I said, my stepfather, he doesn't qualify for that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where people don't educate themselves enough to they just
Yes.
hear a soundbite and they think that's the way it is.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not. Documented people do not qualify for any government assistance whatsoever.
So, so true. Yes. And you know what? And that's the crazy thing. Like we're over here working two jobs, three jobs. You did two jobs and paid your way through school. And we are helping the country. We pay taxes. Even if you're undocumented, you still get an I-10 number where you can file your taxes. So you're
Yep.
still contributing to the country. And they think that we are just here, like doing nothing. We're just taking money. And it's like, no, like we're still contributing. Like we put money into this economy.
hmm Yeah. I pay taxes when I was didn't have DACA. My mom's paid taxes. Like I said, about half
Yeah.
of her income is in taxes. She pays more in taxes being undocumented than I do right now, being having documents, and she
Yes.
doesn't get any benefits back. Whereas I can now, I qualify for unemployment. I qualify for for whatever benefits.
Yeah.
She
You know what?
doesn't
One of
qualify
my
for anything.
friends said that for us on UNDACA and undocumented, when we do our taxes, we get taxed higher.
Probably. I don't know. We might. I I I I used to pay around 35% taxes, but
Yeah.
not at the year end, like during my when they took taxes out, and I
Yeah.
used to just have like zero dependents or one or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's high or low, but I've seen people like they say these rich people are paying 15%, 10%, zero. It's
Yeah.
like, how am I paying more and being called this illegal who doesn't contribute? Yet these rich billionaires, millionaires, even people who are just have good jobs but are not millionaires, paying way less. Yeah, I mean they're just like I said, it's xenophobia. They like to demonize. It's a trick that they used for years. It's the same trick. I'm educated enough where I
Yeah.
understand it's being used. It's not what they really truly believe in their
Yeah.
heads. They know that they're using it so that they can divide us and get their votes in. Some people, yes,
Yeah.
believe that in the administration, whatever. But I we truly believe that they know better and that they know that we contribute, but they want to use that to gain power.
Oh yeah. True. True. Um, do you have any advice for any young dreamers that weren't able to get it, that are in limbo right now?
Continue doing what you're doing right now with the protest. Don't be afraid. Don't be frightened. Continue doing it. If you can't do it, if you're really afraid, if you have any family members who are documented, who do have documents, talk to them to go out for you. Talk to them to be the ones representing for you. Like I know a lot of the DACA recipients or people like me. They go out for their parents who don't have a voice. That's great. Keep on doing that. But I feel like also need to communicate more as a group. So start creating groups with each other, talking to each other, so you can create more of a single message
Oh yeah.
rather than just like, oh, look, there's protesting over here and they're protesting over here, but it's on different days or whatever. It's like, have one
Yeah.
big protest. You remember back in our days, and I know back in our days we had that big mass protest, and I think 2006 or something,
Yes.
where it was just the streets where there's a sea of undocumented people or
Yeah.
people supporting undocumented people. We need to have that back. I feel like we need to have the not just people out there, but also those that don't have documents start lobbying for, on behalf of their people for to Congress. Start calling their Congress members, their senators.
Yeah.
We need to start working because, like I said, compassion is gone. That's not going to work. Just going out there and protesting is not going to work.
For
Still do
sure.
it, but I don't
Yeah.
feel that by itself is going to work. You
Yeah.
need to start having people, running who are compassionate for us. We need to start having people who have a voice to call their congressmen, call their senators.
Yes.
We need to have a voice to, I don't know if they can do that or not, but have like a lobbying group for undocumented or for just immigrants, and then
Well,
start bringing in other groups, not just Hispanics.
yeah.
There's the documented Asians, there's the documented Africans, there's the documented Europeans. Just start spreading that out rather than just waving Mexican flags, which again I totally support. I
Yeah.
understand it, but start bringing other people, other flags, other from other places. Start spreading the word rather than just we're in our community and we're just going to keep it in there.
So true. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it's because they're targeting mostly
Yep.
like yeah, Mexicans right
Yeah, because
now? It
you
feels
don't see
like.
big raids on Europeans, big
Yeah.
raids on Africans. You don't see it's Hispanic. Even people who are being stopped on the street, it's just Hispanic. You look Hispanic, we're gonna stop you. You don't see that with any other group for immigrant reasons. Yeah, it's definitely is one of the reasons I feel like. Um, Again, I hate being that person who's always like, oh, it's because we're brown, or whatever. Because
No,
I,
it's
like I said, I'm
no.
educated enough to know that's not just the only reason, but
Yeah.
right now it is one of
True.
we're
Yeah.
being targeted more than any other group.
Yeah. That is very, very true. Yeah. Um, do you wish more people knew the realities of what it is to be on this program, the DACA program, or and do you wish more people knew how immigration worked, how their own immigration system works?
Yeah, because I feel there's a lot of miseducation going on where there's people just think, like I said, go apply, and you can get a citizenship or whatever that easily, or that immigrants steal jobs, or that immigrants don't pay taxes. There's a lot of misinformation where if you educate them, they'll know, hey, it's not that easy. We contribute, but we don't get anything back. We actually pay taxes. We have an ITIN number that we can pay with, or social for us DACA recipients. We have that. Um, so yes, we do contribute that way. Like I said, my mom pays more in taxes than I do, and she has an ITIN number. So yeah, we need to educate people more, but we need to educate the right people because some people are just going to fall on deaf ears.
Oh,
We need to
yes.
educate those people that will actually have the compassion and those people that have the power to do something. I'm not a big AOC fan, but I am a fan of what she says, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I've seen a lot of things that she's done where I've seen it kind of like, way back and forth. But there's a lot of things that she's doing lately. She's saying helping. And I'm like, yeah, I'm for you. Like, if you run, go for it. Like, support people that support you.
Yes. That right there. Yeah. What gives you hope for the future, both for yourself and not just dreamers, but for the immigration community? Because somebody said this, one of the first people that I interviewed, he said that we need to get something going, not just for us dreamers, but the original dreamers, our parents.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. What is like a hope that you have for
Right now,
uh-huh.
the hope I see is the people out there on the streets. Just go out there. You don't have to have there doesn't have to be a big protest for you to join. You can just go out there on your own, front yard or whatever. Put a Mexican flag out there. Put a Mexican American flag out there.
Yeah.
Put a whatever immigrant country you're from flag
Yeah.
out there. Or even just walking around, with the people just kind of have shirts that say, "Hey, I support immigrants" or something like that. Um,
Yes.
something that shows you're against what these people, this administration is creating or causing. So I do see that gives me hope, seeing people that just are out there protesting.
Yeah.
That gives me hope for the future. I
Yes.
wish, well, I guess a lot of them are younger people. I wish I would see more unison.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of like there's a protest here, there's protests there, they're burning flags, they're whatever. And I understand everything, I understand all that, but I feel like there's just more unison. Like back in 2006, everyone wore white in the same spot. Um, but there is hope. That's hope right there, and then hope within, like, personally. My hope's always gonna be my family. I see hope that knowing that I could raise my son having empathy, having compassion. Um, and so I feel like other people could do that. They can teach their youngs, their people, to their kids, because like you said before, a lot of people who voted for Trump are Hispanics or Hispanic men, and it just shows like were their parents not raising them right? Were they just, are they just that selfish? Like, what's going on? I feel like if you, as a family member, as your brother, if that's your brother, if that's your son, if that's your dad, like, work on them because they're your family, and try to show them, hey, turn around. This is not the right way, because look at
Right.
what he's doing, and look at,
Exactly.
these are family. These are people who have lives, who are not creating crimes. That we're not killing people out here. We're not raping people out here or whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, there's always going to be a bad people in the batch,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that the group in general are going to be
Yeah.
like that. So I
True.
feel like we should have that hope, as long as we believe with it. We believe in us. We need to believe in us, but we need to start organizing better.
Yes. Oh my God, maybe you should do that. Maybe you could be the leader of that, because I did say that to like somebody. I put it in the comments and I was like, I feel like there is to like a lot of marches, and maybe that's the thing, they just want to, you know, have them everywhere. That way, they don't lose momentum, maybe. But
Yeah,
I
I
feel
mean,
like
like I said, you could do that, but just have at least one big one or something once
yes,
in a while.
yeah, I feel like we do need like a big one where they like start organizing it now, and maybe like in a month or two, like be spreading the word that this is going to happen, and that way it gives people time to like get those days, or get that day, and like do
Hmm.
like a big thing where okay, nobody buys anything, like how they've been saying, like don't go out there, just that way they can see the impact, and that way I feel like more people can really commit to it too, and it could
Yeah,
be
and
like
we
a
need more
bigger one.
creators like who spread the message, but we need creators who are big also to spread that
Yes.
message. I
Right.
don't see any really big creators spreading that message. I see maybe one that some I don't really follow them, but it's like that Tati or something girl. I've seen her on there.
Oh yes. Uh-huh.
But we need bigger creators who are benefiting from our community. And if they don't, they say, "Oh, we're not, we don't want to speak about on this or whatever, or politics or whatever."
Yeah.
Um, then don't follow them.
Yes.
They're not for you. Why are
True.
you for them?
Yeah. And I feel like that's something too, like people need to, like, you can't be silent now. Like if you were silent when he was in office his first term, okay, I understand. But this time around, I feel like there is no time for you to be silent and not say anything.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. We need to connect more. Like I said, like, uh, we can't be silent, so we need to connect with each other more. And I
Yeah.
feel like you, as a platform, that's a great platform. Hopefully, your platform spreads so that you can bring more people together, and then
Yeah.
those people can connect with each other
Yes.
eventually, and then create a bigger platform for
Yeah.
this situation, that this same DACA recipients. But it's not just DACA. I mean, yeah, this is the Dreamers podcast, but it's for all undocumented people, all immigrants, and their families. My son's not undocumented, but it still affects them.
Oh
My,
yeah.
my wife's not undocumented, it still affects her. So it has to be for those people and anyone who has compassion too. Yeah, the only thing that's really keeping me, it's like I told you before, I have that trauma of speaking like outside. Like when we're one on one, we're fine. When I'm with
Yeah.
family members, I'm fine. But when I speak with strangers, I get nervous. I get that like almost paralyzing nervousness. I've had
Oh,
that.
no,
I
yeah,
had
I
to
feel
stand up
you.
one time. Yeah, I stood up one time at a church for the Hermandad Mexicana to speak about their program, and I don't remember what I said. I think I just mumbled and jumbled my words,
You,
and
like, blacked
like I
out.
don't remember. Yeah, I blanked out, and I was like, I'm still talking, but I don't know what I'm saying. Like in my head,
Yeah.
think while I was talking
You're like, "The words were
because
coming out, but I don't know what was being said." Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's, I wish I was
Yeah.
a better speaker publicly, so I would feel like I would be great at in what I think, but
Yeah.
it how I speak, it just kind of like paralyzes me in public. So
Oh, no, I
I
feel
wish
you,
at least
yeah.
I could inspire someone, to be able to be that voice. I could be the backup person. I'll write your your speeches, but you have to be the
I
voice because
love it,
I can't
yeah.
speak in public. Yeah, so that's why I said I want to start that YouTube more by myself, like
Yeah.
by myself, taking a video of myself because I can speak better that way. I can tell my story, and I could hopefully inspire other people that way better, just like you are. Inspiring dreamers,
Oh.
DACA recipients to tell his stories because it's also like a therapy session. I feel
Oh,
the
yeah.
what you're doing, it's like a
Oh,
therapy session because,
yeah.
like I said, you have this weight on you, and but just
Mhm.
by telling your story, it kind of gets lifted at least for a little while. It kind
It
of gets you
does,
pushed to like, hey, I need to do something. Hey, like this is my life. This is what it has been for the past whatever many decades.
right?
Maybe I should do
So
something about
true.
it. You know?
So, so true, yeah. And I feel like, we have a lot of similarities because, like, even when you said, like, your childhood, we had very similar, and, the whole public speaking, like, I wanted to do this for a few years now, and it always stopped me, like, the fear of, like, showing up and putting yourself out there and, like, just being judged, you know? But,
Hmm.
like, with everything going on, I was just like, "Okay, I need to, like, get out of that fear and do it," you know? Like, if nobody messages me, then okay, like, I put myself out there, I did it.
Just like your videos. Whoever is watching this, just like her videos, and that'll spread the word. Like her videos, share it,
Yeah.
and that'll at least help spread the word. It's not to make her popular, not to make this person popular. It's so we can spread the word. That's
Yes,
what we're doing. We're not here to make ourselves popular. We're
for
here to
sure.
spread the word
Yes,
of
to help
DACA
educate.
recipients and dreamers. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so, so true, yeah, and it has been really amazing, like, getting to know everybody, and, we have a lot of similarities in how we were raised, and then just everybody's stories is just so inspiring, and I'm just so happy for everybody who's doing, like, the advanced parole, and you got your green card, how
Do
amazing.
a chance to do the advanced pro, do it. Do it. Don't
Oh
be
my god,
afraid. Do it.
yes. Yeah, that's what
Get
this girl
assistance
told
if
me,
you need to. There you go. Yeah.
she was like, "You need to get that done as soon as possible," and like the fear, like you said when you were saying, like, oh my God, like I was scared, just like thinking, like you couldn't even enjoy your experience because you had that fear that was kind of like crippling you almost a little bit. But
Hmm.
I feel like that's where I'm at too. But I need to get out of it. And she said,
Yeah.
you don't have to go for like a long time. Just go for, even if it's just a day, just go
I
for a
went for two
day
days.
and
Yeah.
come back. Yeah. Just go, come back. She's like, don't be scared. You'll be fine. They have to go by what that paper says.
Yeah, the paper will tell you on mine. It said only it was only good for one day. Don't worry, you could still be there for a week. 'Cause that's why I was really scared because I was like, I have a 2 day trip. Are they going to deny me because of that one day, extra day? But that's all I could. I couldn't come back in less than that. With the flights and all that, and so that was scared, like because it said right there 1 day, whatever. But
Uh-huh.
the Hermandad assured me, and then I going through it, it's 100% right that it's just the day that you're back. That's what that one day specifies. So don't worry about it if it says 1 day. You
Oh,
can still
okay.
be there for a week. But still, if you can, just take short day. Don't make it a vacation. Just take a short trip or whatever if you're really
Yeah.
scared,
Yeah.
and then come back. And at least you have that legal entry back. So if you ever find a way, like if you marry someone, you have a
Yes.
kid, you can just adjust it, and it'll be way easier than doing a waiver. Because when I went over there, a family member, a my uncle's wife's sister. She lived here. She did that waiver to go to Ciudad Juarez, and she said that these people, right in front of everyone, they were like, "Okay, you're good, you're good, you're good. You're not. You're gonna have to stay. You're gonna have to stay." They didn't give her a reason why, and she had to stay there for 10 years.
Oh my god.
So the waiver is more
That would be
risky
my
than advanced
fear.
pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
waiver is
I
more
wouldn't
risky
want to
than
do
advanced
it if
pro.
they're like, "Oh, you have to wait outside. You have to wait in Mexico." I would be like, "You know what? Give me my papers back. You never saw me."
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
god,
yeah,
yeah, that'd be
if
so
you can do that
scary.
advanced parole, do it. If you can do it, just trust me, just do it. Do it, especially
Okay.
nowadays. Do it as quickly as possible because who knows what's going to happen with the longer Trump stays in there, if he's going to take that away or whatever. You just do it right now if you have a way to do it. If you don't, yeah, obviously you can't do it, but if you do,
Yeah.
take advantage of it.
Okay. Okay. Great ending. Um, quick question, last question. For anybody who's struggling right now, because there is a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear right now in our community, do you have any advice?
Talk to people. If you can't afford talking to a therapist or whatever, talk to your family, to friends who you think would understand. Talk to strangers like us, like
Yeah.
talk to you. Come on this podcast, like just talk it out, because it will kind of it does help. Just talking helps out. Therapy. I think that's one thing they teach is just
Sure.
talk about it. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to do it. Just talk about it. So talk to people. Find someone you can talk to and you just tell me a story. Like even take it like at work. You're stressed from work. You come home and you want to talk to your husband or whatever about it. My wife does that every day. She comes home. I don't even say, "Hey, what's wrong?" She's like starts talking to me about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay," and I listen. And
Yeah.
then if someone talks to you about it, just listen too. Don't just
Yeah.
kind of like blow them off or whatever. Just listen.
Yeah.
So yeah, talk and listen to each other to people on social media if you don't have anyone that you can talk to.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you have these platforms, come on these platforms and just talk about your story.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I feel like that's been one thing that has come out of this. There the immigration community is so big and there's a lot of people really putting their stories out there and everybody's being very supportive and everybody's like if you need to talk just go ahead and message me. I've given out my number to a few people that are like here like if you ever need to talk I'm here for you, but I
Yeah,
feel like that's
and
been
same
like
here. If
one.
anyone
Yeah. Yeah.
follow me if you can, and if you
Yeah.
guys want to talk or want me to talk to you or whatever, I'm open for that. Just follow me if you can. Artistic Rhapsody 87.
There you
Just
go.
follow me on YouTube and TikTok, and then I'm there for you. Give me ideas of what to do, and then I
Yeah.
will support you if you guys want. Support. Like, hey, support me. I'm undocumented. I'll support you. I'll add you or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing. I feel you would do the same thing. Is we have to
Yeah.
create a community of our own,
For
so
sure.
that we can support each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazingly said. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Carlos, for coming on. I learned so much.
Well, thank you.
Your story is so inspiring.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh my
It's
God. Thank you
like I
for the
said,
motivation to do advanced parole. Oh my God.
yes, do it, do it.
Yes. Yes. I need to do it.
And if you can, if I don't know, because I always like I told you, I had that in my Dominicana uh the group that helped me. It's not a law group. It's like a assistance, like a nonprofit
Yes.
group, and then you pay like a 250 yearly thing, and then they pretty much only the cost of the sheet of the documents themselves. So if you can get assistance from other people to help you because they can send it in faster. If something happens, they'll fix it and then send it back. Get a lawyer or get some assistance from these groups if you don't have money for a lawyer. That's another thing I want to like hopefully create is something to kind of help people if they don't have money to help pay for those processes, those fees, those
Yeah.
processes. But that'll be only if I'm successful in my other ventures. But I eventually do want to be able, if I'm successful, be have like a little fund for people to help their legal fees and stuff. But I do suggest get assistance if you can. If you can't
Oh
afford
my
it,
God. Yeah.
then
That would be amazing to start that. I feel like people would donate to like a legal, not even like a legal fund, like just to pay for like the documents because
hmm
everybody's doing their own. Did you know that? All these
yeah,
little
that's it.
lawyers? Oh
Yeah,
my God. Everybody's like, "What? You don't do your own?" I'm like, "No." I'm so scared to do it on my own. They're like, "No, girl, you just copy and paste it." And then now you see CIS has it where you can just do it online. Then like you just see your documents, copy it. And I'm like, "Oh my God, you guys are
yeah.
amazing." Like,
Yeah, the
wow.
people. If you can do it on your own, great. I mean, do it on your own. I always get help just so I can have that safety, that
Yeah.
peace of mind.
Literally. Yeah, me too.
But if and like I said, I had that group help me, and so when my green card, all I really paid was the documents, and I think like $700 to them, and that's it. That it
Oh
wasn't
my God.
expensive, really.
maybe you should start like a group of like all of these dreamers that, because I saw videos like at the beginning when before he took office, all these people were coming out saying like, oh, like I can help you, just message me and I will, help you fill out your application. And maybe you can get like all these people that can like help
Those
assist.
groups.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then, start like a legal fund just for like to help pay for the applications for them. I would
yeah. I
donate.
mean that's an idea I've had. It's just
Yeah.
hard to find groups that are not lawyers that are down for that. Lawyers
Yeah,
are
I
usually,
feel
I don't
I
want to say
feel like you
greedy.
can get some of these dreamers to help you do,
I,
like,
I
even
feel
if,
if yeah,
like, they do 1 application a day, that would be amazing. You would be
yeah,
helping
I
out
feel
so many
that
people, yeah.
there are DACA. If there's any DACA recipient lawyers, message me or get
Oh,
with me and see if I can start that. If I get any following, I don't know if I will. If you get followings, message me,
yeah,
and then I'll see if I can get those people or message you. They can message you.
yeah.
Just like do it like for a lower fee. Just kind of be like what is it called? Pro bono or whatever they
Yes.
call it.
Yeah. Oh
To
my
help
god,
the immigrant
yeah.
community. Yeah,
So
because
true,
right
yeah.
now it's gonna be crazy work to get these people. A lot of people are gonna try to hopefully do advanced parole
Yeah,
before it gets done. Try to renew their DACA quick. So
yeah.
yeah, I think it'll be a lot of people are needing help.
So excited. There's so much stuff happening. I love it.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested, remember, I'm gonna try to have this in T-shirt form. So
Yes.
message me if you want. I'm gonna try to have that, and then other things, ideas that I have, and
Oh,
T-shirts. So if you guys can support, yeah, I'll try to have that soon. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, and
okay.
then start that podcast, or not podcast, but my YouTube videos about my stories and helping other
Yeah,
kids or other people.
I love
Again
it.
within the next couple of weeks, and then if it gets big, like I said, I'll all that's going back to the community.
Yeah.
I'm not in there for money or whatever. I'm in it to help back the community because
Yes.
I'm good.
Same
I
here.
feel like I made it, but I'm still
Yeah.
here to try to help you guys.
I love it. Giving back.
Hmm.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carlos. It has been a pleasure to have you on. And
You
thank you
too.
so
Thank
much for
you.
coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you
It
for
was
having me.
amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in to Voices of Dreamers. I hope today's conversation inspired you a deeper understanding of the incredible stories within the DACA community. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with friends, leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember, we all have a voice, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, keep dreaming big, and I'll see you soon.